Hello, my fellow film nerds. Uh, Nick here again with day 5 of the 31 day horror uh, thing. Today's movie, oh, I almost revealed that. Today's movie, okay, technically I saw it last night, but I kind of missed the beginning of it because there was a little intermission. There's a double feature last night, and I kind of missed the beginning of the second film, which is the one I'm going to review. But I happened to pick this film up at an estate sale warehouse last week, knowing that I was going to go see this movie in the theater, and I was like, "Holy shit, I need this film." And so this morning I watched it again, or at least I watched the part that I missed. So, we're going to say that this is the Day 5 movie. Here we go. It is Amityville 1992. It's about time. Uh, it's literally about time. Okay, before I get into this one, let's get into the first Amityville film, which I went and saw. So, there's this thing going on right now. Bloody Disgusting, the online movie resource magazine, they're great people. They are putting on this special movie screening. They've been doing it like once every week. Last week was The House on Sorority Row, which I had never seen. I got to see it in the theater. It was very cool, very freaky and fun. This week, yesterday, last night, they showed Amityville, The Evil Escapes, and Amityville 1992. Which, number one, why would you want to date your movie? Why? Like, they've done this before, and it's never a good idea. Like, even Steven Spielberg's 1941. Nobody wants to see that movie because nobody cares about 1941. Maybe some people do. Okay, history buffs do. Beginning of the World War II. And anyway, what? 1992? What happened in 1992? Does anybody remember? No. This movie happened in 1992. So, let's get back to the double feature. Okay, so the first film is Amityville, The Evil Escapes. It concerns a evil lamp that is sold off in a garage sale after the house, the Amityville house, is blessed by priests, and there's a whole spookity beginning with priests and evil things happening, and the lamp. And this one young priest sees this lamp that's basically, it looks like this. It's like a guy going like this, but it's made out of wood. And it doesn't really look like a guy. It's very not scary, but that movie was a lot of fun, a lot of interesting special effects, a lot of strings. You get to see whenever something gets thrown at somebody or a chair like flies, you get to see little strings that are so. But it brought back this really kind of fun nostalgia where not everything is made out of like computer graphics, and it was entertaining, it was fun, and it was just great. I really enjoyed it, and so I was just super excited for this one. And then we went outside for like a second, came back in, and the intermission had already ended, and this movie had started, and I was kind of lost at the beginning. I had to ask Alex, like, what's going on? It turns out nothing really happened, and even if I'd miss anything, at the end of this film, they show you the beginning of the film, so I really didn't miss anything, but just in case I missed some little minutia or something, I went back and I watched it again. I didn't miss anything. There was basically a scene with the woman from across the street. She's walking down the street, and it's like creepy and raining and thundering outside, and that's pretty much all I missed. So in this one, both Amityville: The Evil Escapes and this one right here are both based on books, if you can believe it. They're based on the book, and I believe it's like a collection of stories, or maybe it's just one story, called Amityville: The Evil Escapes, about, kind of the legacy of Amityville and what happens after, the original Lutz family, I believe, after they leave. And whatever you believe about the Amityville story, if you believe it's real or if you believe the Lutz family just kind of made it up for publicity, it's still a very frightening story. The first film is frightening. A lot of things that came out of it are really scary. There's this documentary about the kid who was in the house when all these hauntings happened and how it's affected his life, and that I found very intriguing and fun. But yeah, this is one of the stories based on that book. So, in this one, the dad comes home, a dad comes home, and he has this clock, and it is really fucking ugly. And he's got a young teenage daughter, very innocent, very like nice, and then he has this teenage son who's totally like rock and roll and just like, whatever, dad, whatever, God. And he's just like constantly playing his guitar, which is like shaped like a dragon. He's just always playing it. He is so fucking cool. When they're like going to school, when him and his sister are going to school, she's like, I'll see you in school. He's like, yeah. And then his sister walks away and he says to his friend, tomorrow. And he walks off. He's like, this kid's pretty cool. And he ends up being pretty much the main protagonist of the film. Him and the woman that I believe her name is Nita Talbot. There's a woman. So the dad comes home. He has a clock. His ex-girlfriend is there watching his kids, which is already kind of weird. But he's like, thank you so much for watching the kids. I had to go to this meeting. So he's like an architect, and he went to this demolition site, which, that's where apparently where the house was demolished, and all that was really left was this clock. And he's like, oh shit, this clock's great. I want to take it home. This ugly, ridiculous clock. So he like gets home, he talks her into bed basically, and then the clock is downstairs in the living room, and all these weird sort of mechanisms come out and kind of it attaches itself to the ground and then like sticks into the back of the wall, and so it's like it's ingratiating itself into the house and getting all freaky and stuff. The young the young rebel comes out. He's like, what the hell's going on? He hears the neighbor dog come over, this huge German Shepherd named Peaches, which is a very cute dog. And it comes over and he feeds it a Pop-Tart. And then he goes into the living room, and suddenly the whole living room changes into like some early, I don't know, like 1700s dank basement with a wood table with a pentagram written into it and all these chains and shackles and candles lit everywhere. He's like, holy shit. And then he turns off the light and it turns back to normal. Then he turns on the light and it turns back into Dr. Tar's torture dungeon. And then he turns off the light and it's normal. He's like, whoa. But of course he doesn't fucking tell anybody, because nobody in these movies ever tells anybody what the hell happens ever. I guess that's the only kind of frustrating thing about this movie. Anyway, so the dad goes out running the next day. Peaches, out of nowhere, and there's a scene here that is very reminiscent of The Beyond. So the dad's running down this, basically out, away from his house, and he looks behind him, and the neighbor lady's there, and like she's just staring at him dead-eyed with Peaches standing right there next to him, very Beyond-esque. And then Peaches, runs at him, basically bites his fucking leg off. You see his leg like, and then he goes to the hospital. The doctor's like, oh yeah, he just needs some bed rest and he'll be fine. His leg came off. His leg was dangling by a piece of meat. Anyway, so for the rest of the film, Dad is in bed, recuperating with this growing, disgusting, pulsating, pussy boil of a wound on his leg. The daughter starts getting possessed by the clock and turns all sexy and stuff. And there's this like striptease and everything, and you're like, oh. And then the boy, he just keeps saying all these weird throwbacks to the 1700s, and he talks to his neighbor, the neighbor lady, who kind of knows what's going on because she's cuckoo, and she tells him that there's a history to this clock, and that it was actually in this boarding school in the 1800s, and there's this evil count or something French guy, and he would take the kids from this boarding school, and he would chop them up and he would eat them, and that's just like touched on for a second. Then we never hear about that again, and all this shit's happening. Dad's ex-girlfriend brings her new boyfriend over to the house for some reason, to her ex-boyfriend's house that she just recently slept with. She brings her boyfriend. Okay, there's a lot of things that don't make sense in this movie, but the number one thing that doesn't make sense in this movie, the boyfriend that she brings over, he takes a bath in the house, and then some scary shits happen. I don't know about you. I'm not going over to... I just wouldn't do any of this to begin with, but I'm not going to take a bath in this house. That's for damn sure. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to get through this. I'm on my way to Cinema Wasteland, which is going to be awesome. I'm going to have to do at least one review there. If you've never been, you should go. It's in Ohio. Anyway, Amityville, 1992. Excellent time. Really fun. Lots of great gore effects by KNB Effects. Directed by the guy who directed Hellraiser 2, who... I believe he was like... He had a big part of New World Pictures, which was Roger Corman's company. He was actually Roger Corman's mail boy when he started out, and then he just started, getting more and more things. He made this film. It's very entertaining. I very much recommend it. There's one more screening from Bloody Disgusting Retro Nightmares. It's going to be Sweet 16, and I think The Unholy or The Covenant. I don't know, but one more double feature. Go and check that out. It's going to be really fun. It's about time. It's about time we see some like obscure, semi-shitty sequels in the theater again. It's about time, Thank you again for watching. I'm sure there's things that I didn't touch on in this movie, because there's a lot that goes on. Also, the Amityville: The Evil Escapes. A lot goes on in that. That one's highly entertaining. Go and watch that as well. That one's just wacko. It's just about a lamp. It's about lamp. Okay, so find that if you can. Find this if you can. I'm sure it's out there, just because the print that we saw looked fantastic. And that was a TV movie, The Evil Escapes. This was a straight-to-video release, because it has tons of gore in it. Really, so it's not exactly scary, but there are some really uncomfortable things that goes on. The girlfriend's, or the dad's daughter's boyfriend comes over. He ends up melting in a pile of goo. Just go see it. I don't want to ruin it for you, but it was fun. It's raining outside. It's spooky. Watch a horror movie. Thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow.